live on stage in a theater setting?
Well, I know that when I'm naked on True Blood, screensavers can be made out of it. But then, seriously though, I've always thought, since I started watching the show, I really thought if Tennessee Williams was still alive today, he'd be Alan Ball and he'd be writing about vampires.
Yeah, the whole situation with Hoyt and his mother is Tom and Amanda Wingfield. I mean, it's not like plagiarized, but it's the same. It's theatrical writing. Alex Wu was a playwright, Nancy was a playwright, I'm sure some of the others. Alan was a terrific playwright. Playwrights give us better characters than movie writers give us. They give us better situations, and to have our writing staff influenced by theater and then bring theater people together. I think it's one of the things that sets the show apart. We can build on a premise like the one that your books gave us. It's nice.
It seems like the first series of the show was very much a mystery show that had some supernatural elements. As it's progressed, it's become more and more of just an unabashed supernatural show. What do you think of that transition?
I think that follows the trend of the books, actually. Though Alan obviously is going on his own path on this, and one which I really respect. The first book was pretty much a murder mystery. I'm from the murder mystery field. I wrote them for 15 years before I started writing Sookie. Then the books became less and less pegged to the structure of the murder mystery, more and more to the solving of supernatural crises. And I believe the show is kind of following that pattern.
And I also want to say too, I think that what separates our show from a lot of the other supernatural projects that are out there is that, yeah, it's about vampires and werewolves and witches and ghosts, but it's really about people with serious handicaps trying to be human or trying to have a human experience. So, I don't even necessarily see it so much as a supernatural show as much as it's a show about being human.
Yeah.
I always love shows that, it's in the arena of supernatural, but it's about, Charlaine mentioned tolerance, which is a big one. And I think that, my favorite shows are these shows because you can deal with such great issues and just the problems of being human and having 8 billion people on this spaceship we call Earth, and how do we live together? And there's so many analogies that can be drawn. I wasn't familiar with the graphic novel Watchmen, and I saw the movie. I rented it thinking, oh, this is going to suck, but I don't see anything else at Blockbuster. Your mind goes blank when you go in there. And so I took this thing home and was really floored by it, because again, it deals so beautifully, and that's what Alan does so well in everything that he writes, American Beauty, and Charlaine with creating this concept of the supernatural world is so much fun, and it's such eye candy. That just happens. My arm just did that on its own. That too. Yes, boys. But it's deeper than that, and the writing. This speech that Denis did after he ripped the spine out was a perfect example, because you have this incredible action with that incredibly poignant speech. So it's great.
Can I say something real quick about that speech that he gave? Stephen Moyer went to Washington, D.C. in the springtime and spoke with an aide or secretary to President Obama that said last summer, on a Monday night, they all gathered up in the Oval Office, and that our president walked in and said, "Did anybody see True Blood last night?" And they discussed his speech and its relevance to this world we live in for half an hour in the Oval Office of the White House.
One of the things that's really, I think, very realistic about the show is the